All right, I saw Shelby Oaks. That heard the buzz about it, primarily because it was the feature film debut of Chris Stuckman, who reviewed movies a lot and all this sort of stuff. So let's see how he can do it. Well, it's shot well. There's a lot of stuff. It's very cool about aesthetically, but it tries to marry two different approaches that it's not going to work, and it doesn't. It presents itself in the opening as a found footage film, and then immediately deviates from that to become traditional film. And then after that, it's just sort of, oh no, there's demonic forces, and they're the real problem here, and oh, it's terrible, and oh, a twist ending, because turns out, the one you thought it was actually her all along, and she didn't know it. This sort of thing, it's not that big of a deal. As a found footage thing, and combining it with like a faux documentary, that would have been better. And usually, for the most part, when it comes to any attempts at found footage, that's probably your best pathway, is to present that there is this footage. It's sort of bookended or narrated by a documentary type approach to it, and it's left up, what do you think happened? It looks like it was this, and all that sort of stuff, where there's tons of this. And of course, like the Blair Witch and whatnot were inspired by In Search Of and that sort of thing, where you had these paranormal shows and they would look at things, is Bigfoot in the woods, and you never really saw any evidence that he was, but what if there was evidence, and so that's how that you just make the movie like that, and it turns out because there's no real movie if the supernatural boogeyman isn't real. So it does have great visuals. I mean, you blink and you miss a good bit of them, but that's the nature of it. But in the opening aspects of it, so you have this story of this woman's sister has gone missing, and her sister got into the paranormal and doing one of these ghost hunter shows, and she had a successful YouTube career of doing it. Her and her crew would go to these supposed haunted places, the same old thing you always see on those type of shows, where they spend the night in the building and, oh, I heard something, and that kind of thing. Of course, for her, it kept looking like something was real going on and all that, and then something goes terribly wrong and everyone's wiped out, but the sister has disappeared, and the older sister is determined to find her and all this sort of stuff. And then this is encapsulated with media reports on it, that sort of thing, and interviews and so on. And then all of a sudden, it just suddenly jumps into just your standard film. It could have continued, even with what the scene, I won't spoil it, that it really starts the film at that point, with a clue for the sister to find her long lost sister and so on. And then, but the problem is the tacking on of just your basic approach. It just really gets boring, and she's wandering around. The Shelby Oaks is this abandoned town and this sort of thing, and there's a dark history and whatnot, but doesn't really deliver that well. There's a lot of spooky imagery, again, well shot and stuff, and then she just walks into the ending basically, and everything unravels or is revealed or whatnot, and it's it just falls apart at that point. And the acting is okay. The odd thing about it seemed better through the lens of found footage than it did in the traditional sense. It's mostly this poor sister who's looking for her long lost sister and all that. But I don't know. It's something about it, even your basic actor comes across better when they can. I mean, it doesn't always work. Like I said, I'm a sucker for found footage, and I say that because most of them are terrible. And a lot of times it's the acting is god awful. Mostly because a lot of them just don't explain why anyone would keep the damn camera rolling when they're being chased by a monster, a killer, or what have you. And if you can figure that part out, then you got something. Some of them do. They'll come up with a scenario how that works. But here, it's just done as this tease. You get all the creepy imagery that a found footage thing provides. But then it's just this boring movie. And, look, there's, and it's not that big of a surprise or anything like that. As far as why this sister and that sort of thing, as the story I say unfolds, you're led through basic setup scenes and imagery that's spooky looking, and then, like I said, she just walks into the ending. It's I was very underwhelmed. Starts off creepy and interesting. Okay, well, all right, yeah, and then, huh? So, yeah, I mean, good photography skills, that sort of thing. Some good effects. So, better luck next time. It's the first film for this Stuckman guy. So, maybe the next one will do a little better. But if you're not going to do a found footage movie, don't do a found footage movie. I mean, I know it's like you can have a movie where there's a scene where you discover evidence in the story, and it's it's a videotape of evidence of what happened, and you have the characters watching it, and then the screen goes to it, so you're kind of seeing it through their eyes at that point, of course. That's fine, but it just opens. That's the opening to it. It's like, oh well, here we go, and they're using the documentary framework. That's a good choice. That'll help. But it's over. It takes me back to one of the things, because at the time Blair Witch came out, there was a competitor to it. Didn't get as much attention. Was the last broadcast, and it was about these guys who, interestingly enough, in the precursor days before the outbreak of YouTube and stuff like that, but these guys had an online show about the paranormal and stuff like that, and but they hit big at first, and then it deteriorated, so they were looking for another big win, and they decided to do a special, this is their pioneering days of live streaming or whatever, to broadcast them camping out in the Jersey woods to seek the Jersey Devil. It's an old local urban myth in the area. So they do this, and then of course, they all get murdered. One of the men with the crew gets accused of it, sent to prison and all that, but it looks like it didn't happen. But there's a lot of found footage, and there's this guy who's investigating this story. So there's the found footage, but there's also this documentary style approach, and that's the majority of the film, and it's not bad. It does pretty good as it goes further and further. What's the deal here? Maybe the guy is the killer, so on and so forth. And then suddenly the big reveal happens. It happens, and then you're in a regular movie. You're no longer in found footage or anything. It's just, what? It's at the tail end of it, but still, that just destroyed the whole point. It's like, then don't do found footage. It's like they didn't know what to do. I mean, they could have just left it. There's another way they could have done it. I mean, when the guy reveals, it was me all along, or something, but it's, and that, I guess, in a lot of ways, that was kind of worse than this. This is just, I was just bored with the overall movie, and it looks like a found footage approach might have spiced it up a bit had they stayed with it. But I'm going to go into the traditional of the show. I really got the stuff to make a movie, I guess. Maybe that was, I don't know. And just, I'll try to do both. You can't. It's one or the other. So that's, I guess that became the sticking point for Stuckman here of the approach to the film. Otherwise, it's just, well, you know, supernatural demons and stuff like that, yeah. But no particularly really great angle to it. Could have been one, but if you're going to do something, really, the found footage and or faux documentary approach is better when you're dealing with people who were involved in, you know, ghost hunting, paranormal investigation, that type of thing, and that's your main focus. Is sort of would get your beginning point or what have you. It'll fit right in with that, but didn't do it that way, so that's too bad. So anyway, there you go, Shelby.